welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
An accent. We need God. Because only God can bring us out of this mess.
I may not look like you and you me, but that's the way it's supposed to be. Dare to be you, dare to be me, and dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting its glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, and dare to be.
Good morning, world. My name's Mike Haynie, and welcome to the Doni Glover Show, where I'm the guest host today, was guest host on Friday, as we gave Donnie a very well-deserved break, but Donnie will be back tomorrow with you. Today, we've got an exciting show, but let's talk about a few things happening in Baltimore. And as you see, I've got my Wildcat jersey on, my old high school basketball jersey, and it actually still fits because we got some Wildcats in the house today talking about some great issues relative to politics, relative to healthcare. And we have a really special guest. And although he didn't go to Northwestern, if Northwestern was still in existence, which it will be in a few years, I'm sure he would have gone to Northwestern. But let's talk a couple of things first about what's happening in the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area. We've got Black Restaurant Week, which starts today in the Baltimore, Washington region. And there are so many awesome Black restaurants, particularly in Baltimore. You've got Terra Cafe, you've got Land of Kush, you've got one of our sponsors, Casey Jenkins and Darker Than Blue Restaurant. So please, people, get out and support Black restaurants this week. Most of them have tremendous deals in terms of what we call all-inclusive pricing for lunch and for dinner, very affordably priced. So support Black restaurants this week in Baltimore, in Washington, and you can go to blackrestaurantsweek.com and see a list of the restaurants in our area that you can support. In August, there's a free camp for kids that are interested in music. In the Baltimore region, Evanston Village specifically, they are sponsoring at St. Bartholomew's a 3-day kids choir camp. The information is up here, 410-241-1585, 410-241-1585 for a free, absolutely free camp for kids in Baltimore who like to sing. No prior experience is required. You want to get your kids out there to do something this summer, send them to this free camp at St. Bartholomew's Church out of Evanston Village so that they can learn to sing. If I could, I'd go back there myself. This past Saturday, I attended a dedication, and I got to bring this guy up because, it's not the usual suspects that we hear all the time, and the big time politicians, the big time entertainment people. It's guys like Mr. James McCoy, who this past Saturday, we dedicated a street, Allendale Street in Evanston Village, to Mr. James McCoy, who supported and encouraged thousands of young men in his barbershop. One was located actually on Woodington Road in Evanston Village. This one here at Allendale and Evanston Avenue. And Mr. McCoy was a mentor to many. I swept his floors as one of the first jobs I had growing up, paid me $10 a day. I was 8 years old, but it kept me out of the streets as it did many young people. And so hats off to Mr. McCoy, who passed last year in November. Rest in peace, Mr. McCoy. Your legacy continues. And, we honored you on Saturday by this dedication of a James A. McCoy way. You know what I'm saying? Just a guy in the neighborhood, a guy in the community that's giving it back. And, can't we all be part of that scenario? Hey, who is this? Oh my goodness, where did this guy come from? This is Carson Padmore, right? Carson Padmore is a kid from the Baltimore City Track Club, and he's in the studio today. Carson, is that you, buddy?
Yeah.
Carson, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Congratulations. This is what it's all about. Carson, you just came from Orlando, Florida, representing Baltimore at a track meet down there, didn't you?
Yes.
And so what events do you run, Carson?
What do you say? I run the 100 and 400.
You run the 100 and the 400, and I believe, and you run the 200 too, because I looked you up. You're all over the internet, man. And this is what it's really about. And I think that you are the youngest invited guest that we've had on blackusa.news or Be More News. You are the youngest kid, the youngest person we've interviewed, man. And so the 100, 200, and 400. So what happened in the 400 meter race down there in Orlando? Did you win?
Yes.
What's that around your neck, man?
A medal.
Let me see that medal, man. Let our viewers see that medal. That is absolutely awesome, man. Awesome. And so where do you go from here, Carson? Don't you have another meet next month?
Yes.
And you're running the national championships next month in the 400 and the 100, because you're a 100 meter runner too. You're a sprinter, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
That is
Yes.
fantastic, man. That is fantastic. Where's your mom? Is your mom there?
Yeah.
I'm here. So.
Hey, how are you doing, Miss Williams? Congratulations to you and your family. I know that, it's a lot to be involved with our young people, and this is what it's all about. And Carson, man, when I saw Carson's image the other day and what he had done, I was so proud of him. And this is what we have to begin to do as a community, to support and to encourage our young people. We talked about the choir camp earlier, and Carson has chosen track and field. Why did you choose track and field, Carson? Your mama made you do it?
Why'd you choose it?
Because me and my mom we up the stairs and down the stairs every day.
Really? That is awesome, man. That is absolutely awesome. Where do you go to school, Carson?
Mother Mary Lane.
You go to where did you go to school again?
Mother Mary Lane.
Mother Mary Lane. And what grade are you in, Carson?
Second.
You're in the second grade. Man, I tell you, you have given an awesome interview for a second grader. Matter of fact, you've conducted yourself better than some of our older adults, man. So we got to have you back. So what is it that you want people to know about you, Carson? What kind of guy are you? Are you a nice guy?
Yeah.
And so what makes you a nice guy, Carson? What is it about you that makes you a nice guy, man? You take care of your mom and your grandma. What do you do, man? You clean up around the house?
I sweep the floor.
You
Yes.
sweep the floor. So you did what I did for Mr. McCoy's barbershop, huh?
Yes, and you take out the trash.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a great personality. All the kids gravitate towards Carson in school. His teacher,
Wow. Wow.
He's very mild-tempered. Everyone loves to be around Carson.
That is fantastic. Carson, that is awesome. Carson, we're going to check back in with you when you get back from, where is it, North Carolina, your next track meet?
Yes, that's where we're
Greensboro,
going.
North Carolina. Well, Carson, we're going to get back to you and find out how you did in Greensboro, man. But you're already a winner in our book, even though that medal is symbolic of what you did and what you won. But you're already a winner in our book, man. You listen to mom, you listen to dad, and your grandparents, man, your kids and your class, and like you, and they respect you for your temperament, man. More of us can learn from you. So good luck in North Carolina, and we'll see you next month in August, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
Carson Padmore, man. Isn't that what it really is all about? You know, our young people and how we pass on to our young people good, soft, and social skills, as apparently his mom has done. And the only way we can do that is by staying and being involved. And Carson is of good health, you know. And, you know, at this point, I'd like to bring into the stream what our show is really about. We have another, and one of the reasons I have this Wildcat jersey on today, because it's kind of a Wildcat day. I know that our host, Donnie Glover, is a big Poly City fan, but, you know, when it comes to Northwestern High School, you know, we have a legacy too. We have a former mayor, you know, we have a former controller, you know, we have doctors, lawyers, as all schools have. Matter of fact, it was said back in the day, we had the best women at our school in the city. The smartest women, the beautiful, most beautiful women, not City and Poly. I know they think they did. That's right, they didn't. Did they have? Anyway, I know they were extremely jealous of Northwestern High School. So I'm going to bring into the stream a good friend of mine who is one of the most fierce advocates in this state and in this country for the health of the Black community, Dr. Michael Zollicoffer. Dr. Zollicoffer, how you doing today?
Pretty good, buddy.
It is so good to see you, man. And, you know, you and I spend quite a bit of time, you know, talking about your advocacy for health in the Black community. And today's show specifically, and we've invited a lot of Northwestern people because we need them to help kick off a campaign that both of us believe in. And that's a campaign that we're going to talk a bit about today. We're going to talk a bit about healthcare. But let me play first for the viewers this video, this short excerpt of a video that, you know, Mike did during the absolute height of COVID. So just bear with me for a second as we kick this off and we play this video.
Same thing that goes on every day. The United States spends more money than any of the top GDP countries for healthcare and has poor outcomes.
That's what you just stated. You just spent a bunch of more money and have a poor outcome. Your poor outcome because you didn't think. You're so much caught in the economics. And I don't mean that somebody sat back in a room and had a conspiracy going on. Let's make some money on this, make some money. But when you are born into a situation where healthcare is a profit-making business, you like sick people. You don't think like that, but they darn sure get you $1. If everybody out there standing in line for those tests, which they don't need in the way we're doing, that's too much testing. But it's money. Now you got home testing. Now everybody before they get out the door want to test. Test is the worst thing you can do with these tests.
Because the test gives you a false sense of security. You test yourself on Monday, you're COVID positive, but the test is negative. Then you run to your...
Mike, I think that the point that you were making was the expense of healthcare and how in our country, healthcare is so much an economic engine. And maybe that's the reason why in Africa that has 3.5 billion people, and we have 300 million people, they had over 800,000 less deaths in our country, in their country, than we had in our country because of the economics and the financial benefit of healthcare. Now, you mentioned $1. You mentioned talking about $1, and talk about what your health system, what your office is about relative to community health. Why are you in medicine, man? And what kind of medicine do you practice where you are at the moment?
Oh man, I practice just what we call community medicine. You know, I'm a trained pediatrician, but I'm a doctor. And I'm a doctor at heart in the art of being a doctor, meaning I'm here to just fix the wrongs of society. And I didn't come here with some great charge in my life to say, okay, I got to correct everything. But I don't see how we can be morally convicted to a moral ill thing such as illness and put $1 to it. So throughout my career, which is almost spanning there 40 years, no one has ever been barred or takes away from this office because of cost. Everyone is seen. I like to say, in this place, healthcare, the nation is taken care of. Right here, one man can change outcomes. One man can change the system. You try to put national healthcare, whole life healthcare, universal healthcare, whatever names you give it to. And we ended up with Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare is the lingo many people go with. Wonderful plan. It gave people access much more than they ever had, but the apple was still rotten. It was still high cost. So you gave you access to a thing that we never changed. And that's the challenge of this country. How do we change healthcare costs so it becomes something that does not hold people accountable? As you and I talked the other day, the number one cause of personal bankruptcy is your healthcare dollar. We just think about what we just stated. You get sick and it can cause you to lose your economic viability. There's a problem there. In here, that does not go on. You walk off that street, you will be seen. If you can give something, fine, because I tell everybody, if you give me something that helps offset the person who has less. That's how.
So, Mike, let's talk about that for a second, because this is what it's all about. Right. We're calling all Wildcats, Wildcats, Northwestern alumnus, because, there's something that we have is special to really kick this campaign off, even though what we need is a wider reach of 1 million people.
Right.
You provide health care to people regardless of whether they have a dollar or whether their healthcare provider allows them to come see you, or whether they have nothing. You have never turned anyone away, you said, in 40 years. What does it look like from a practice perspective? How can you operate in America, a capitalistic system, not charging people for a service? And what does that cost you, man?
Oh, the cost is tremendous if you want to look at it on the capitalistic corporate thought process, and we can get into that. But you want to know how I existed? I existed because of family. Family is Northwestern. Family is family. Family is my mother. Family is my brother, who come out their pockets, who put their homes up so we can continue to do this. Get emotional on that, because nobody asked them to do anything. But when I got in jams, my family, that cohort, helped me out.
So talk about jams as a pediatrician who also services the mom and the dad of the little people that he sees. And I saw it firsthand Saturday. Saturday, you had a COVID vaccination.
Right.
We'll get into a bit later. COVID vaccination free clinic, right? And you didn't just have little kids there, but you had their mamas, their daddies, their grandparents smiling, giving it out. But what has this cost you personally, or do you equate it to a cost, or you just equate it to the fact that you're in medicine and this is what you're supposed to do?
Well, I equate it to this is what you're supposed to do. And every doctor who went into medicine, that's what you're supposed to do. Many times I always said to you, we can have black faces in many urban clinics and places around, but if they're controlled by the corporate entity, the black face is not a powerful black face. It's another puppet on the string. And I'm not downing docs. These docs are great docs and providing great care. But the system thwarts those attempts. You see, we've had a federally mandated healthcare systems for eons, but we still suffer because we forget so much that most of your health is financially mitigated. It is tied to your financial wherewithal. This city is sick in poverty, low income situation, housing, etc. So all of those factors go into health. And if you don't try to fix it, which I do every day, then you can't fix the health system.
Mike, I wonder if people in this city know. Well, they obviously know, because I hear so many comments about, you're the best pediatrician, but you're not just a pediatrician. You're a pediatrician that also practices adult medicine, because you treat adults. You did so during COVID, right? If someone is in need of healthcare in this city, you can take to the bank that Dr. Zollicoffer will not close the door in your face and will not say to you, well, you've got to pay me in order for me to see you. Is that accurate, Mike?
100% and then some.
And so you give away tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical care to people in this city, in this region, without compensation, right?
Very good, very good. We estimated somewhere between 50 to 75,000 a year we give away. And it doesn't bother me because here's how I look at it, man. Let me put something so people can put this in a situation, maybe slightly abstract, but it's real. Nature does not hoard food. In nature, everything is in balance. Man is a part of nature. Your economics, your money is the food in an economy and in a society. When you hoard your dollars, you kill the people. You cannot benefit unless we all do like nature. What I have is yours, and that's what I do. So I will not hoard the dollar because everything I do and when I make my success is a sex for the group, is for the we, not the me. That's where you live. Like I can't do it any other way. I can't give to anything but the group, not the individual. And that's what we have to do. That's called moral capitalism.
So let me ask you something, Mike. Moral capitalism, and we're going to get into moral capitalism a little bit later. So, it's difficult for you to get funding. You get dribbles and pieces from the system, and we'll define the system at some point. But what about maybe you should hold a fundraiser at your, multi-million-dollar mansion out in the county? Can we do that next week?
Well, not about multi-million-dollar mansion, but you could darn sure house at Lafayette and Fulton Avenue. Well, I still have a home in the hood. That's where I hang out, brother.
So Lafayette and Fulton is where your home is at?
That's right, baby. I don't lead the people. Ain't nothing
So who's in your home? Who's in your home right now, Mike?
A friend of mine who needs to have a home.
So you gave up your home at Lafayette and Fulton in the inner cities of Baltimore for someone that needed a home. And so where do you stay?
Yeah, well, this office is built to live. So while they're in the house, I stay here, baby. I can do everything.
You are the consummate doctor that is always available because you are 24/7 by yourself in your practice.
That's right. By myself in a practice, but by myself giving out what we should as a nation do, the love for all people and community. That's what just had a little kid on for, running his 400 meters, backed by his family. We need to take that energy when that child is there young like that and get him into a system that provides him a good, nice education, but it also brings him discipline. You can't run that 400 meters without discipline. You and I come from Northwestern. We did not get here without discipline. We came with discipline, and people now have let that go to the bottom of the sewer. And you can't love without discipline. Discipline is love. We have to be disciplined enough to give to each other, and that's what we got to do. We got to take that young blood like that and move them to the next level to do what we're saying here today. We got to learn to give. It's not even any way you should think any differently. But when you've been consumed by society, and when I teach students and my MP students and my PA students, and anybody, patients, they sit down, we have these conversations. Your first bamboozlement is that you believe in this culture. This culture will kill you, and it has. Look at the Baltimore. When you and I went to school, 1 million people. Now you're under 600,000. We are deteriorating in an exponential fashion. Somebody's got to save us.
Mike, and you have done all that you can and continue to do to save us. And we're going to look at where you save people and how you make them feel with where it is that you live to continue to give medicine 24 hours a day or access to healthcare 24 hours a day, no matter what someone's situation or walk for life. But we haven't asked today. I haven't asked today, and particularly of you out there that have stake in my soul and Michael's soul. Let's call it Northwestern, or maybe you aren't from Northwestern. We are kicking off today a campaign called $1 from 1 million. $1 from 1 million people begins to change lives, specifically pointed towards Michael Zollicoffer and what he offers. Do we have a moral obligation to assist this man who just told you he lives in the back of his office while someone occupies his home that is homeless, so that he's available to you? And I guarantee you, anyone that's watching this cast today, whether you, your mama, your daddy, your sister, dialed this man's number saying, I can't breathe, I'm bleeding, my son was just shot, I don't know what to do, that he is not going to turn you away. So what we're asking from you today is $1. And maybe you have $10, maybe you have 1,000, maybe you have 10,000. So that this man who gives away free medicine, free advice, free consultation as one of the leading pediatricians in this country can continue to offer that. And so we're asking you today to go up on Mike Zollicoffer's Zelle, and let me put that information up there for the viewers to see. Right? Zelle, Dr. Zolli at AOL.com, Cash App, $ Michael Zollicoffer with 2 F's, not the one that I put in there, but I corrected that. Right? That's what happens. I can't spell my own name correctly. Cash App, $ Michael Zollicoffer, Zelle, Dr. Zolli at AOL to kick off our $1 from 1 million people so that we can continue to provide free access to healthcare through this monumental giant. We showed earlier in this podcast, James McCoy, a humble barber who impacted the lives of thousands, and he saved them in another way. And then we've got a community person such as Dr. Zollicoffer the same way. Where do we have accountability to help each other continue the mission of saving our community? So I'm asking all of you out there, look at this right now before we get off this podcast. Kick off this $1 from 1 million campaign by Cash Apping right now to $ Michael Zollicoffer or Zelle, Dr. Zolli at AOL.com, $1, $5, $100, $500, just to show that our faith in people has not changed.
That's right.
We give $1 to the lottery, either to Pimlico Racetrack, we'll give it to Goodwill and thousands of other charities out here. But you know, charity starts at home. And if home is where we are now and where the heart is, you will go up and contribute to what this man needs. Michael, you know, your BG&E bill right now, what is your BG&E bill right now?
About $20,000.
$20,000. And there's an opportunity that your BG&E can be shut off, right?
Yeah, and all the service will be gone. As I said to you, and I got to people understand, y'all think doctors are rich. Well, this one ain't trying to be rich. The richness I give is from the love of people and the giving from people. The pandemic took many of our solo providers out of the running. For a year and a half, you shut people down, and you were already just making it, you know, by robbing Peter to pay Paul. And so it tipped that iceberg. So my family couldn't even bail me out. No one can, but I continue to just give every day. I don't take a paycheck. I haven't taken a paycheck in 20-some years. Okay? I just live on what's ever left because the people have to feed. Just like I said in nature. People are starving. If I can make it, I don't care where I am. I don't need much because the service we give is there. And I want to say one thing when you're to my other place to donate. Here's this little bucket I got in here. It's really a picture I took from a hotel room. And here's the dollars. If you want to come up and see me, the other way to donate, come put $1 in this jug. That's our offering plate. Because I want everybody to understand this is for real for family. We can save and we can change our own lives by just giving to people who care about us and not go back and try to take and swindle you out of this and that. No, I'm here without you giving anything. I've given to everybody. I'm going to continue to give well. I'm going to strive and survive. But we got major things that put us way behind. We walking in a situation that could end any moment. That fears me every day as I bring people in, but I will not stop. And we cannot stop. It is time for us as a city and a nation to move ourselves. Heck, I would love to have a $1 for 1 million march on Washington to move ourselves to the point where we put ourselves in charge and not governments and other agencies. We got to change our own lives. We start here. I've been doing it forever. been doing it without anybody telling me to do it. And I'm going to keep giving, and we need to give. It is time for change the community back to the community, back to the old time.
If we stand for something versus falling for anything, we will stand for you, because I guarantee you, if they make their way up there and put $1 in your jug, because that's all you're asking. You're just asking for $1, but we know that people can give more. We know that there are people out there that can get more. And Calvin Butler, who is the CEO of Exelon or Constellation Energy here in Baltimore, you heard what's happening here in Baltimore, as we know that you do a lot of philanthropic work here in our city. Now, you control BG&E, Calvin Butler, and I know there's someone out there that knows Calvin Butler. I know there's someone out there that knows a philanthropist out there that understand the value of healthcare. Because there's no one watching this show, no one in reach of this show that cannot call as long as Dr. Zollicoffer is alive, you have healthcare access. No doubt in my mind. You have healthcare access. If you are watching this show, then you don't ever have to worry about being turned away for an issue related to healthcare. And all we're asking, and I see Quandra saying, where can I send the money? Again, $ Michael Zollicoffer, Zelle, that's Cash App, $ Michael Zollicoffer. If you're doing Zelle, you do Dr. Zolli at AOL.com. And all we're trying to do today is to begin to make a statement. We're not going to solve the issues related to Mike or anyone in a day, but at some point we have to start somewhere. And I'm hoping all of those that have shows, all of those that have friends, spread the word that there's some doctor in Baltimore practicing medicine for the right reason. And here's a doctor that we all saw next to Governor Hogan, the governor of the state, governor of the state of Maryland, Dr. Michael Zollicoffer, was up there imploring people. We're going to talk about vaccine, the safety of vaccine, and whether a kid like Carson and his siblings who may be younger should get vaccines. We'll talk about the monkeypox too. You know, he was standing next to the governor of the state of Maryland with a $20,000 debt to BG&E and being potentially put out of where his office is. And you see this office behind us with where's the help? Hey, Mike, come and speak, come and advocate, come and get people to take the vaccine. We know you've got a lot of credibility in your community. Let us use you. But when it comes down to the help, if we don't help ourselves, if we don't save ourselves, and what's different? What is it that you all expect different that the system has not done for us over centuries since slavery, that we don't feel as though we're in the situation we're in now, that we have to come together, collaborate, and figure this problem out? So, Mike, you're in a phenomenal office suite, right? You're in a suite with like 4 or 5 exam rooms. 8. You've got this wonderful backdrop of a aquarium behind you. Why not take your tail down to Lafayette and Fulton and work out of a damn liquor store, man? I mean, so why do you need these surroundings, man? Go down in the corner, get you a food truck and work out of a food truck.
Hey, I've been in the food truck. I've been in the hood. I started in the hood at places that weren't as magnificent as this. That is no problem. You know, I can go anywhere. I don't need anything, just like I don't need anywhere to live. As long as I'm here taking care of the people and providing the love and compassion that I just.
So why the space that you have?
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you the story, and it will tell you about the space. I said earlier, in order to have health, you have to have economic viability. In order to have health, you have to have a domicile, a place to stay, a roof over your head. So one lady, one of my patients who came in, saw me at the stadium, because this illustrates exactly what you're saying. She saw me in there. She was a little usher. She saw me in my rope. And she came up and just screamed to the rope, Dr. Z's in the house. He takes care of my children. Boom, boom, boom. She was just laying praise. The whole section had to get up and just clap for me. And then I said, That is so wonderful, hearing her talk about a foster care, children she brought in, on and on. But then she came over and whispered in my ear. And she said, let me tell you, I used to go to Rogers in the hood. But when I came to the new place, guess what you did to me? When I walked in and saw that magnificent place, I no longer felt poor. I no longer felt disenfranchised. I felt I could be as rich as the rich people. See, the environment, this place, helped change your mindset. Just because we don't have, we can still have. And I sacrificed to that. I built this place out of my pocket. And the help of even my landlord, who is basically, I'm working to try to get back money. Like I said, we can't pay. And I'm not here to down everybody. Everybody don't have to believe in what I'm talking about. Capitalism is out there. That's what. But sometimes you did not think, because I told you were brainwashed by the culture. You think the way we operate is fine. If we operated so well, then why we suffer so bad? And here I try to take the suffering away. So we need to go back and look at that we can control ourselves, just as I have controlled life for you so far. I've given the people don't even know when to get free stuff. Their insurance bad. They don't even know. I said, go on, Miss Johnson. You can just go on. I may not even tell you, because I'm not going to change anything because of that acknowledgement. Healthcare is supposed to be streamless, economicless. It's a moral obligation. Everybody should have a right to keep their health good, and they should have a right to live in a house and have some economic freedom. They don't have to be rich. As you and I talked, back in the day, Westport and Cherry Hill were built on the shipyards, the auto places, all of the things, and they were decent. They didn't live half the hall, but they were middle-class families who were happy to be able to eat and retire in a way that made them human. We've lost that. But we got enough wealth in this country to make it human. That's why I give whatever I can, because we generate income, not enough to stay open, and not when a pandemic hits you. But I've never taken that to live anywhere. Humble ourselves.
Imagine, Michael said, Dr. Zollicoffer talked about how the pandemic affected independent doctors, and most of them have gone to work for the system, right?
That's right.
So imagine Dr. Zollicoffer being crippled or shut down as a result of the occurrence of the past couple of years, in addition to what he's been doing for 40 years anyway, giving away his services, and you don't have the ability, as I did just 2 weeks ago. My mama wasn't feeling good, right? On a Friday, my mama wasn't feeling good. And it wasn't though she did not have insurance or whatever. It was that we were concerned at her stage to at least get some advice and get the ability to ensure that she was okay. And it isn't the fact that it was me and Mike, and I've known Mike all my life, and he's like my brother. He would have done it for you as well. And we called him, he dropped what he's doing, didn't even concern himself about costs. When is the last time that a doctor doesn't make you fill out an insurance form first? Not that eventually we didn't have to fill anything out, but first, before he even sees you. Now imagine this resource being taken from our community of those that have less than we have. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. I saw someone up there earlier, Mike, mention, because we're going to get to the resources that people have said that they said. I seen Greg Ireland, a good friend of ours, say he'll be up here this week and he's going to do something. You know what I'm saying? $1, $5. It's the meaning. It's the point right now.
That's right.
That if it's 5 of us, that means we need 999,995 more. Right? Because that's all we're asking for is $1 from a million. But we know from a tangible, quantifiable perspective that if you give 10, you give 20, you give 1,000, you give 5,000, or Calvin Butler gives 20,000 and ensures that, you know what, we're going to bless this guy with no electric or gas bill for as long as he's in existence. Who has that connection to make that happen? And that's what we're talking about. Someone mentioned earlier in the comment section that they have a resource and a way to deal with the gas and electric company. And we're imploring you, if that's the case with these resources, and we got Dr. Zollicoffer's email address, drzollicoffer at AOL.com,
It's
right?
right.
Is that you touch bases with him so that we all can help, because he's not ashamed. He's not going to tell you that bankruptcy hasn't been something teetering on over the course of the past 2 decades, as he has attempted not to monetize his medicine, but communitize his medicine as his daddy did.
Right.
Because he told you where he lived, right? So he's not dealing with any, superficial, false pretense in terms of who he is and what he does. What we are asking for today from the community is pouring all our resources together, kick off this campaign, make people aware that you have someone. It's like Mike Zollicoffer is like someone on the corner giving away free reefer, or free heroin, if that's what you into. And how many of us would not flock to the liquor stores or the corners if someone was giving away something free that we liked, right? So now we have free medicine, if necessary. And what we're saying is, for those that are downtrodden and unfortunate, is that's put in the bank the money to continue this legacy of giving away health care for free. Okay, so touch bases with Dr. Zollicoffer. Don't just give us lip service and feel good for a minute. We have to put, particularly us that are at a certain stage in our life of standing for something, we're gonna fall anyway, right? We all gonna fall anyway, but fall on the right side of glory by supporting an effort of someone who is doing things for the right reasons. Because I'm sure, Dr. Zollicoffer, people see you prestigiously up on the podium next to the governor of the state of Maryland on multiple occasions. They figure that you're leaving that podium, heading to your 5-acre heated swimming pool, right?
That's right.
Service, 10-car garage, and where you're heading to is the back of your office, waiting for the next person who needs you unconditionally, without strings attached. And so we're asking people now to give in the same form or fashion. Cash App Dr. Michael Zollicoffer, Cash App $ Michael Zollicoffer, my apologies, Zelle, Dr. Zolli at AOL.com. But moreover, Dr. Zolli at AOL.com is the way that you touch bases with Mike Zollicoffer. If you want to speak to him, have a special message, have resources that could be of help and assistance to him, please reach out to Mike at this point so that we don't lose this lifeline. This Michael Zollicoffer is my lifeline. Mike, I was sick. I was somewhere dying, and I couldn't get in the doctor's about a month ago. No, this is some real stuff. And there are thousands of people out here with the same story, right? And, I got Kaiser, whatever, but it isn't you. You call, you come in, whatever, never. But, I knew what I had to do because I knew I could call you. I knew you would take my call. And it's not just me, it's anyone that will take their call and give them what it is that they need from a medical perspective. Hey, for a second, let's switch gears. This has been a crazy year. And in Doni's opening, someone said only God can save us, right?
It sure did.
And I'm ready to cry too, man.
You ain't lying, bro.
We're just at that stage, man, where we have got to appreciate the tears through the laughter. And, you said that you have treated more gunshot victims
oh my goodness,
as a pediatrician this year than you had ever seen in your life. What is up with that in our communities, man? What's going on with that?
It's what we talked about and we alluded to so far. You have a school system where the senior class, 41%. With a 1.0 GPA. That's lack of knowledge. That's lack of intellect. And on top of it, you have disarray. No discipline. No discipline with no intelligence is apocalyptic behavior. And gunshot wounds are a part of the apocalyptic behavior. All of them under 25 years old. Teenagers now perpetrating and becoming the victim at almost a quarter, if not getting almost a half of our murders and homicides. That's a lack of societal structure, a lack of giving and love and compassion. But you want to, as we said the other day, when people get too old, they won't let you come to your pediatrician because you're age outed. I don't listen to that. That's why I still get free care for you on a walking day at 30. If they don't pay, I'm still going to see you. Think about what we're saying. The system, because it's so complicated and convoluted, stops you from getting help at a certain age, but yet sends me a gunshot victim. Do you think
so the system won't let you see me at 31, but they'll send you a gunshot victim? Oh my God. Is that compelling? Is that profound?
Yes. It's the realness. It's the realness, baby. We talking all. Look, we're going to say it again. We can change this. Old school behavior can change this. Analog behavior, that means flesh and blood caring, as I do every day. You see, ain't nobody asked me to do this. And when I go out and ask people, I say, you don't got to buy into me. Keep your Rolls Royce, keep your fancy mansion. But you're killing somebody somewhere. If you got a little bit more than a man next to you, you share that dollar. You share your hopes, your dreams, your love, your compassion. That's what we're about. We have got to get in here and get the things like the old days. People talk about what Dad was doing back at Godwin Day. Let's talk about that for a minute. Here you had a black healthcare system in 1969. We owned the building. We had every specialty. We had everything known to man. And life gave that away from us. We lost those things for whatever reason. We don't have that wherewithal because when corporate America comes takes you, they give you any little roadblock so that black doc can't operate out of that row house anymore. Or when it comes out that row house, start a Garwood Medical Center where we all could get health care. And that was when health care was affordable. They did house calls. They gave to people. They do just what I did in a global fashion, more than me just being a singular person out here doing that. Now, I know people can give a little care here and there free, but this is not free in the little bits and pieces. This is the movement of the whole office structure. It's about giving services to everyone, no matter what. Everybody brings me their grandmama and their granddaddy and their aunts and their uncles, just as Mike said he did with his mom. And we give care because I can take care of everybody. We have an urgent care here. We've got everything under the sun that we need to get fully operational and move it to the point where we can even make our own money, which we do very well. However, not enough to sustain a pandemic of a year and a half where you had horribly no patients, you were all told. And that's what you see business, not just medicine, restaurants. Everything we see in this society has changed from the pandemic. It's time to heal people. It's time to get themselves back.
It is absolutely worse for our community to lose Dr. Zollicoffer's business than a restaurant, because as we said earlier, healthcare takes people out. It takes people out. It bankrupts people. It puts people in a stressful situation. It ultimately kills them anyway.
That's
so
right.
all of a sudden you take Dr. Zollicoffer, because I don't know anybody else in this region that does what you do or practice what you do, where everyone listening to this show today, has access to free healthcare because you know Dr. Zollicoffer. Now, I don't know if that makes you a what do we call it, an angel, a saint, or a fool. But right. I gotta tell you, in our community, you're a saint, man. You're a saint because you're giving us something and we're talking about it. We're not saying don't come see between 9 and 5. You have never heard any hours. We're not saying Saturday or Sunday. We're not telling you to bring only your kids with gunshots below the age of 18. We're saying that this man is in a situation where we have to save our communities by saving our practice, because he's just told us it's not just his, it's ours.
That's right.
It's our ability to have that. And so I hope and implore each of you listening, reach 10 people, particularly in the Baltimore, Maryland region, reach 10 people and tell people about this story. There's a beauty of this podcast and stream services is that you can take this tape and share, 10 days from now, 10 hours from now, 10 minutes from now. This is not something that we can say, hey, listen to this. Listen to this. Check out Dr. Zollicoffer. Send him $1. Send him $5. If this guy goes away, which is a very likely possibility unless it becomes a we thing.
That's right.
The last thing that we want as a community is to know next month that Calvin Butler and BGE and Exelon and Constellation, and yes, I said Calvin Butler, he's a brother that believes in the community, and someone out there knows him. Someone out there knows Westmore. I know Westmore. I know Peter Franchot. I know Tom Perez. I know Governor Hogan. Okay, that all these people have to understand, hey, forget all the paperwork and all of the complication of what it is that we need to ensure that this man can continue to offer free access to health care in our communities. Someone needs to reach and share where we are as a society and what we need to do. So this guy gets $1 million off of Brandon Scott, our mayor's Carefree Act. They say, here you go, Mike, here's your $1 million. Here's my $1 million from one person, right? That may take care of all your immediate needs. And what they gonna miss, man? They screw up more money. You know, more money is buried in potholes,
right?
Trash,
and speeding
away free needles,
right? And then fictitious speeding tickets.
And then they want to question.
Right.
At what point do we hold society accountable for our resources so that they go in the direction that they need to go into?
Right.
Cash App, $ Michael Zollicoffer with 2 F's, Zelle, Dr. Zolli at AOL.com, Dr. Zolli at AOL.com, Dr. Zolli at AOL.com.
Right.
Mike directly with any resources, suggestions, but don't come with, nothing but empty promises, because we're at a critical stage now to kick this campaign off, to save, as I said, and I'll say it again, a person that you can call on, whether he knows you or not, for free health care if you need it. Talk about the Romanians. Talk about the Romanians.
That's right.
So you got Romanians coming to see you.
Right.
Got some dire situations.
That's right.
Talk about them Romanians, man. That you're
hey, look, we're gonna put two things together. Romanians being symbolic of people who are disenfranchised. There's many of us where we don't come from Romania. Beautiful people. Went across the street to an urgent care or an express care. No money. Place is supposed to see you automatically, but told them to come back 3 days later. But one of their relatives had come here with their little kid and say, go there and see Dr. Z. They walk in here, seen. Little kid was wheezing, sick as hell. You wouldn't see the kid. So when you look at individual stories, this ain't just a simple glide through La La Land. This stuff gets real. They've been back in there 20 times. I guarantee they have given them $1,000 free care, not $1, and I'm not mad at it. We work with them. One of the little kids there needs a procedure done. It's been delayed by months because they have no insurance yet, and because the immigration status may be difficult to get it.
Hey, Mike, so where did that little kid that needed that special procedure go? Did he go to another healthcare profession?
Well, he was seen in the hospital, and that was ordered. But he hasn't gotten it because the big rich radiology firm tells we got to give him $3,000.
So they're saying to him, and this is where medicine is monetized in America, and why we had 800,000 more deaths during COVID,
right,
than the largest continent in the world, Africa, with 3.5 billion, with 200,000 deaths. And you all don't think that this is real? We still have people dying of COVID now because of their lack of access to ultimate care regardless of where you come in
That's
from
right.
life, the best care, the best medicine,
That's right.
because they're judging you on what you have.
Right.
So the doctor that treated him, that's probably a multi-millionaire,
No
and
question.
probably could have wrote the check,
That's
which
what
we
I'm
know
saying.
that you had done, right?
That's right.
He's the one that lives in that 5-acre home with the, swimming pool that's heated, right?
Right.
You think he could have said, hey, listen, I'm going to give $3,000 worth of care or money for this child to have this special procedure? What they do, they just put him in a system and let the system determine whether he lives or dies. That's
right.
the situation that we're in. And you compound that, living in the communities in inner city Baltimore, being a person of color, the system will lose you.
That's right.
And bury you, and you can forget it. And I know there's many viewers out there with that story, man.
That's right. That's the real deal. And emphasize this. I'm going to show you the check from a little town in Carolina. $1,600 donated to our cause. A town. Mike was just telling you about Baltimore could do it. The state could do it. If this little town can give me money, and why they give it to me? Because they come to my Zollicoffer lecture at the University of North Carolina every year. I gave them a way to go empower themselves. They came and surprised me by showing that they took my little sort of seminar knowledge that I gave them and turned it into a workable way of empowering their neighborhood. And one wonderful woman named Vivian Saunders, who runs the Hive from a certain thing called Raising Bird Tea. It's a stimulus from all of this. But she opened a store, opened a place that was big enough to house the community, that put them back to work, gave them jobs. CDL, CNA, all of this, put them back to work from what I told them. So this ain't just in Baltimore. I'm doing this across this country, to the point where they gave, in the municipal thought process, a check. Where's a check from the state of Maryland? Where's a check from Baltimore? We too can give a check. We can sit back and tax ourselves on the 83 with the camera they just put up. And folk, Baltimore will be making $3 million a month.
Hey, dedicate that camera to Mike Zollicoffer.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
Medicine in Baltimore.
There you
all
go.
The proceeds, net
That's
expenses is going. So that's where we are as a society.
Right.
We're down to the last couple minutes, but we're definitely not down to the last time you will hear this. And what we're doing, and we're calling all Wildcats, because we're going to start somewhere, with the foundation of who we are, and the foundation of who Mike and I are.
That's
is
right.
Northwestern, because that's where our relationship, our marriage, our intimate love for each other started. Right. We're calling on all Wildcats to ensure that you spread the message and the gospel about what Dr. Zollicoffer has done, and what many of us have done throughout our community. And let's kick this campaign off, man. But this isn't the last message, because you're going to hear from him on my show, 60 Minutes in Black America. And I know Donnie Glover is going to bring him back. But Mike, I am hearing and I am seeing that there's thousands of, should be thousands of dollars in your war chest now as a result of this podcast, and that people are emailing you now with resources. And you and I will get together later and figure out what the next strategy is. But this is not over. We're going to continue to hammer away until the community is held accountable for the resources we need. And Dr. Zollicoffer is one. Hey, we got another Wildcat that we need right where you are as well. And I'm going to bring him in the stream. Michael.
Whoa. We men named Mike.
That's right.
So we're going to talk about Michael Johnson, who's running for a school board, right? We need Michael Johnson on the school board in Baltimore City to begin to ask the why questions, and not stand for nothing. And our kids continue to lose to what Carson, who was on here earlier. So I'm encouraging, we're going to hear from Michael real quick. And William Honolulu, whose show follows. William, be on hold. We'll let you in as soon as we finish. And if not, Donnie, you can fire me. But we ain't going nowhere until everybody finishes. I don't care. Okay? So Michael Johnson, we need Michael in the school board. Michael needs two things, particularly from Wildcats. He needs you to show up tomorrow at Northwestern High School beginning at 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. to help him on the polls. And if you're in Baltimore City, he needs you to vote for him. Now, my strategy is I'm only voting for Michael. I'm not voting for 2 other candidates or 3 other candidates. And I'll tell you, and if y'all don't like it, tough, right? Because if I vote for Michael and someone else, and if someone else wins as a result of my vote and Michael don't, oh, stupid me. Vote for one person only right now. We're voting for Michael Johnson. Educate people as to the system and what's effective. And we need only one vote, and that vote is for Michael Johnson. Everybody else, you on your own. I don't care, Corley. I don't care. Michael Johnson, that's who you vote for. You only vote for one damn person tomorrow, and that's Michael Johnson. Now, Michael, you can talk.
Well, I'm going to be really, really quick. I don't want to step on anybody's time. First thing, what a pleasure it is to be with 2 of my close friends. I mean, the 3 Michaels, this is a rarity for us to be on the air.
I didn't even realize there was 3 Michaels on here. Michael,
Michael.
Oh my goodness.
And I noticed, I felt the sniper. He missed me again this morning after he saw that I was going to be on here. But I'm just letting everyone know, look, it's important to vote. Too many times we sit around and we don't think how important things are. But this is the first time in 193 years that the citizens of Baltimore City get an opportunity to vote for a school board member. And sometimes you need a disruptor. You need somebody to be going on there and do a lot of reading, ask a lot of questions. And when you disagree with the community at your back, because the community is the mandate. This is the only time. Otherwise, all 9 of the other positions, which mean they're going to have the majority, are done by the politically appointee. This is the only time that the community will have a voice. And I want to be a voice. And I'd appreciate all Wildcats or anyone else to meet me at the polls. I'll be at every poll as I can. I'm a little shorter than I used to be before the campaign started. But other than that, I just want you to come make sure that you come out and vote. And I'd appreciate if you vote for me. Michael Eugene Johnson.
Michael has a number 443-531-1922.
And like Michael's Dr. Z, real quick. I mean, like Dr. Z loves the children. I love the children. If you're not loving the children, don't be running for this position. Otherwise, you're in my way. Get out of my way.
Absolutely. So please, Wildcats and anyone, Mike needs ground support tomorrow, starting at 7 a.m. And he's going to make it real simple for you. Just show up at Northwestern, and we'll take it from there. Show up at Northwestern anytime between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m., and we'll figure out what you can do to help get him elected. And secondly, only vote for Michael. I'm saying that. Michael ain't saying that. I don't know. He's on tickets and all that kind of stuff. This is the most important race to me. Okay, Michael Johnson.
And wear your blue and white. If you're Wildcat, wear your blue and white. Wear your Northwestern. Because where we are is where Michael Haynie and Dr. Z and all of us fought to keep that school open for 16 years. So I appreciate you guys giving me a call, and my brother Rico for feeding me this morning.
Hey, listen, you're watching the Donnie Glover Morning Show. Donnie, it's been more chaos and hecticness than you've had on your show. We have woken your show up for you, Donnie, so you come out tomorrow strong. Tomorrow's election day, and from 9 o'clock to midnight, we're going to have an election day special on 60 Minutes in Black America on the blackusa.news network. We got Sheila Dixon coming on, another Northwestern alumni, as one of our guest commentators tomorrow evening. Again, 9 p.m. to midnight on 60 Minutes in Black America. We're going to look at and celebrate Michael Johnson's victory, as well as the victory of all your favorite candidates. Have a great day. Don't forget, Dr. Zollicoffer, $1 for 1 million, baby. Michael Johnson. Good morning, world.
Thank you, baby. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
That's right.